just wanna play, I wanna sing my song, I just wanna run and not be gone too long. 'Cause this time is precious still, I wanna keep it close to me. I'm wishing on a star to make more time to see. You can always dream, you can put your life on hold, 'cause time won't wait for you. You can always see what is here in the now, and then you'll find out how to keep dreaming. You can always dream, no one's taken that from you, only you can see it through, just like the way you do. So feed it from your soul and weigh it from both sides. The fulcrum and the tides will give direction that you'll know. You can always dream, you can put your life on hold, 'cause time won't wait for you. You can always see what is here in the now, and then you'll find out how to keep dreaming. When you make the time, it's a game of give and take. When the balance is at stake, you need to take a look inside, look deep into your heart, and remember how it feels. It's where the answer lies and tells you what is real. You can always dream, you can put your life on hold, 'cause time won't wait for you. You can always see what is here in the now, and then you'll find out how to keep dreaming.
Good morning, Celebration Center. It's good to have you here, those of you in person and those online. So welcome to this time. We are celebrating Spirit Within and knowing the oneness of humanity. That is what we are doing, and we'll say that later in our time together too. I am Faith Woods. I am your host today. I am your speaker today. I'm your practitioner today. I'm on. But we also have music with Lynn Hollyfield in all angles, and so that's going to be our real buffer between me and everything else. So special welcome for anyone who's here for the first time. If you're online, please take a moment and give us your name in the chat and where you're from. Would love to know a little bit more about you. And also, if you want us to know more about you, we'll tell you how to do that in a minute. Actually, I'm going to do that right now. We have special guest cards on the table, and those of you online, there is a QR code that you might take a picture of and send us your information, or you can go online and find out how to sign on to our announcements there. But our guest card is on the table over here if you're a first-time visitor and would like to stay in touch with us. We also have on the table prayer request cards, green ones. And these are prayed on by practitioners for a week. So if you have a prayer request today, please put it in the purple basket and let us know what that might be. We do have a wonderful service planned for you today. We say that every week, but we do plan and attempt to give you all that you might need to get through this next week, maybe and more. Our practitioner today is me, of course, and then we also have Lynn Hollyfield doing our music with all angles. And our tech crew, Ivor and Aiden, are here. Let's give everyone a round of applause because, and especially without Ivor and Aiden, we would not have this technology before us. And we're so grateful for that. So grateful. We have announcements coming up. There's a field trip today. And people are going to Pathways. So if you're not familiar with Pathways and would like to pick one up off the table or in our bookstore, please do. We also have a collection of our newest brochures that people can take with them to Pathways to pass out to people or see if anyone there is, or put it in a book in the library or whatever you would like to do with it. So that field trip will leave to Pathways. Will be leaving right after service. And there are people with cars going. If you would like to go, you can connect with them after service. Other announcements? I don't have a lot of announcements today, but I have one from the Ukraine. It's called Easter in Ukraine, and it's a concert and a fundraiser that's coming up on Friday, April 4th. And I will put this on the table. You can take a picture of it with your phone. If anyone is online and would like information for that, it's a fundraiser for the practitioners in Ukraine. It's a very, very valid thing to give to and to attend. And that is, let's see, our next week's speaker is Eugene Holden. And so everyone just really loves Eugene, so please come and hear him. And stay with us just a brief time to say hello before you hop in your cars and go over to the Expo. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with Joel Osteen, but he always starts his services with, I like to start with something a little funny. And so today I'm going to mimic him because the other day I was putting on my socks and I noticed a tiny little hole in the middle of my toe where the sock, and I said, oh, here's a little hole beginning. And I really like these socks. And Sandy said, why don't you darn it? And my mind immediately went back to years ago when he taught me how to darn socks. So I immediately picked up the socks, threw it down and said, darn it. And now we're going to have our opening song with Lynn and All Angles.
Yes, so we're going to start. We hope you'll join us in singing Standing Like a Tree by Burns and Christie.
Standing like a tree with my roots dug down, my branches wide and open. Down comes the sun, down comes the rain, down comes the fruit to the heart that is open to me. Standing like a tree with my roots dug down, my branches wide and open. Down comes the sun, down comes the rain, down comes the fruit to the heart that is open to be standing like a tree. We are the flow, we are the ebb, we are the weavers, we are the web. We are the flow, we are the ebb, we are the weavers, we are the web. We are the flow, we are the ebb, we are the weavers, we are the web. We are the flow, we are the ebb, we are the weavers, we are the web. Standing like a tree with my roots dug down, my branches wide and open. Down comes the sun, down comes the rain, down comes the fruit to the heart that is open to be standing like a tree with my roots dug down, my branches wide and open. Down comes the sun, down comes the rain, down comes the fruit to the heart that is open to be standing like a tree. Down comes the love to the heart that is open. Down comes the love to the heart that is open. Down comes the love to the heart that is open to be standing like a tree.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you.
Thank you.
That is one of my very favorite. Let's give her some more love here. Okay. So we have a reading today for you from Science of Mind magazine. Quite a while. No, it's today. It's March's. Interesting. Okay. The Right Name is the title of this reading. And it says the divine presence is a parent mind, present everywhere, just as life is present everywhere. That's from Words That Heal Today. And the Science of Mind book says, we cannot come unto the Father which art in heaven except through our own nature. So we need to be who we are. Many people tell me they are uncomfortable using the word God in reference to deity. Often this is because of some bad experiences they had with religious activities during their grown-up years. To this I say, pick a name, for what's in this name needs to be an inner opening to our divine core, not something that pleases others. I know a World War II pilot who, as a young man in flight, used to sense Johnny in his atmosphere. He later learned that this was the name he gave the unoffended God in whom he lived and moved. Holmes himself had many names in his references to what we call the presence of God, Spirit, the infinite, it, the law, to name a few. They all worked for him, and they all served the same purpose. They were a key to opening the door to a personal experience of connection with the One. Should we worry that we might use a term that does not honor God? I do not think that deity cares, because after all, the gifts are always given, and it is we who need to create the open place to be able to receive them. We are the ones who will discover and choose the means to establish our intimate relationship with God. It might even be, as one colleague used to wryly smile and say, my big sweetie. The affirmation here is, I am the place where God stands forth in the world as me. With a loving purposefulness, I choose the key to my infinite path. I do this with great love, honor, and respect. I love that reading because that question comes up often. What do we call this one presence? So I would like you to say with me our vision statement together. We are awakening humanity to its spiritual magnificence. And again, I'd just like to remind you that there are green cards on the table to be put in the purple basket. If you have a prayer request this week, they're prayed on all week. If anyone is online, you can go to our website, celebrationcenter.org, and put in a prayer request also. We honor those. And Ministry of Prayer comes together tomorrow morning to pray on them together out loud. So you get your prayers request worth, I think. Let us now join in prayer for this time together. And taking a breath, holding it gently, and then letting it out. And another breath. We come together in this place of oneness as we recognize that the breath that is flowing through our body temples is that goodness of the universe that feeds this body temple. That breath that goes in and through our body, from the top of our head to our fingertips to our toes, connects us, one and all. And so as we come together this morning knowing this oneness is present right here, right now, and that we are connected with it, and there is no other way it can be, that we are connected. I claim for each person here the highest and best for them. I claim and know that as this energy of the divine flows through us, it is put to purposeful use in our daily life. I know that each of us is seeking something to be deeper and closer and more unified with us when it already is, and yet we still seem to seek it. It is already here now. And so I speak a word of celebration, that we recognize that wholeness, the perfection that is here, and that it is ready and willing to provide for our good. And let us claim it and know it. And so I give thanks that this is known in our mind, in God's mind, in everyone's. There is only one mind. I know that it is here now and ready for us to receive. And I give thanks for that. I allow it to be, and I just let it be, releasing this prayer. And so it is. And we have another special music with Lynn and all angles.
Okay, we're going to share a beautiful song that talks about the power of love. It's called Love is the Water by Pat Wichter. You say your heart's been turned to stone. You say you want to be left alone. You say love only made you weep and moan. Well, let me tell you something that you know in your bones. Love is the water that wears down the rock. Love is the water that wears down the rock. Love is the power that won't be stopped. Love is the water that wears down the rock. You say your soul's like a dry riverbed. Stop waiting for the water. Long ago you said you better pray all night for the rain instead. Love comes like a tidal wave over your head. Love is the water that wears down the rock. Love is the water that wears down the rock. Love is the power that won't be stopped. Love is the water that wears down the rock. You say waiting for love takes too long. It dulls a sharp mind and weakens a strong. Well, you may be right, but you may be wrong. 'Cause love can make a mountain come tumbling down. Love is the water that wears down the rock. Love is the water that wears down the rock. Love is the power that won't be stopped. Love is the water that wears down the rock. The river washes over every woman and man. Feet in the gravel and mud in your hands. Nothing can stand against love's command. Every boulder turns into a grain of sand. Love is the water that wears down the rock. Love is the water that wears down the rock. Love is the power that won't be stopped. Love is the water that wears down the rock.
I love that song. Thank you, Lynn, for always having a song that opens my heart. And I remember Brother Son, who used to sing that song together. And that was just one of my favorites. Love is the power. Love is the power. I'm going to read you a poem from The Gift, Poems by Hafiz. And it says, if God invited you to a party, if God invited you to a party and said, everyone in the ballroom tonight will be my special guest, how would you then treat them? How would you treat them when you arrived and they arrived? Indeed, indeed. And Hafiz knows there is no one in the world who is not upon his jeweled dance floor. Every one of us come from that one source, one place. It's not even a place, is it? That one energy. So we're talking today about blossoming when swaying and how we can live through this creative power within. And our first song that Lynn opened us with, the tree, how we can open and the roots go down and are sturdy, because there's nothing more, I don't know of anything else in nature really, well there probably is a lot, I just don't know it, but the tree can withstand such winds because the tree, when the roots are so deep. So there is that old story about if the house is built on sand, it will tremble and fall. But if it's built on solid ground, it stays. It's kind of like the tree, because there's an island near my house called Government Island where they cut the rock for much of the buildings up here in the D.C., right in D.C. proper. They put it on a big barge and took it up a canal and built buildings with it. And on this little island, which is really a peninsula, but they call it an island, you can still see the big slabs of rock that this came from. Our housing development is just across a little river from that, right? And all of a sudden I realized that's why when I dig in my yard, it's very hard, because I'm actually hitting rock. When you walk through our development, you can actually see slabs of rock where they have made way for houses and stuff. So we don't want to build well, it depends on how big the rock is, right? It depends on that, because the rock can be pretty big and sturdy for some things. But if a tree roots are growing on top of the rock and not really rooted in the ground, that tree is not quite as able to withhold some storms. So just think of the roots of the trees and how sturdy and solid they are. And the other part of that is that they're underground. We don't see the roots in the trees, do we? So I'm going to invite you to consider how much of your system of being is rooted underground. How much do you have down there that when things come along, that that you have enough in that invisible world, enough stamina built up through prayer and meditation and such, your practices, that you can withstand that storm. So as we're going through this philosophy, we heard Ernest Holmes say many times, change your thinking, change your life. This is one of his tags that we say often. When we change what's up here in this brain, it goes down somewhere else in our body, and we can then see movement from it. Change your thinking, change your life. So many writers have adapted this in many ways. Wayne Dyer wrote a book about changing your thought, change your life. Or I don't know if it was Wayne Dyer, but so many people have used this tagline out in the world without any reference really to spiritual things. It's just is a fact that if we change what we're thinking, things change in our reality. So just think about that for a moment, because science of mind isn't just a philosophy. It is that way of life. It is that being as we consciously direct our energy into a life of peace and joy and fulfillment, as opposed to unconsciously directing it in other ways. So are we thinking about our limitations, or are we affirming limitless possibilities for the future? Are we reaching for life, or are we consciously creating it? Are we reacting to it, or are we consciously creating to it? So these questions become important because we have so many thoughts each day that we don't even realize go through our brain, and how we think them. It's not always about what it is, about the tone that it has. Have you ever been in an argument and had anyone say, it wasn't what you said, it was the tone you said it with? So what is the tone of the thoughts that are going through our head? I certainly know I have used that when people say things and then they repeat it. Oh, I just said. And it sounds totally different, doesn't it? So what is the tone that is going through our head? Because we can shift our experiences by aligning our thoughts with the highest truth, expressions of divine intelligence, infinite potential, and boundless love. We are in a dance of change. And this change we see many places during our life at this time. And so we're going to explore a couple of timely questions. In the face of one's constant ebb and flow in daily life, how do we flourish and bloom? Now, how do we find ourselves in comfort when things are uncomfortable around us? How do we stay true to who we truly are? Because we live in this world of constant change, and we sometimes don't realize it, that we're changing all the time. But the seasons shift, relationships change, careers take unexpected turns, and sometimes it just feels like we're in an ocean that's pulling us in different directions. So how many of you have actually been to the ocean and gotten in the ocean? Okay, oh, I see hands like this. Yes. So we've been to the ocean and in the ocean, and if you haven't, I mean, as a younger person, I was out there with my kids and bouncing around, and a wave would come by and just knock you over out of the blue, right? And before you could get up, you're trying to get up, and before you can get up again, it knocks you over again. And sometimes you just kind of have to start letting it ride you into shore. And so last year at the ocean, I don't go out that deep anymore unless my kids are with me. They're the ones taking care of me now. I used to take care of them. But last year I was there, and I'm sitting there, and I can't get up because these waves keep coming, right? And it takes me a little bit longer to get up than it used to. And so I'm trying to get up, and finally I decided I'm just going to sit here and let these waves pull me back. Well, I did. And much to my chagrin, 2 young men came out to rescue me. And I was like, ooh. So I guess I will take it easy there. But in this world of constant change, sometimes it's hard to stay steady. And that's where our roots going down are going to be helpful to us. When we can remember there's something bigger than I am working for me, with me, in me, as me, through me. Our language gets very tricky because when we try to talk about oneness, it's interesting. So amid this, and the tree song is just one of my favorites because it always reminds me that we have so much underneath us after we've practiced and learned and grown and read and done our work, that we do have something substantial to hold on to. So our true nature is eternal. And Science of Mind teaches us, just as a reminder, that life is not happening to us. It is happening through us, as us, and for us. It's hard to believe sometimes when something comes along and brings tears to our eyes or hurt to us in some way, that it's actually here for us. It's because sometimes in our world of time, there's a delay between what this event is and the good that comes from it. But there is that truth, and I'm going to ask you to maybe witness some of that later. We're going to do a sharing, and we're going to do it, we call it tell us. Some people like that term and some don't, but we're going to do a sharing afterwards. And I'm going to invite you also to ask questions of us, each other, and stuff. If you have things that you might like an answer to, we're going to do that. Sometimes we call it stump the minister, but I know none of you would do that, right? So Holmes tells us that there is nothing in the universe that stops us from progressing except our own resistance. So the question is, are we resisting change, or are we going to dance and sway with it? Because it feels uncomfortable sometimes to change, but discomfort is not always the enemy. It could be the doorway to growth. So going back to nature, think about a seed. A little seed that we're going to plant in the ground, and the stuff that it has to go through to become a flower or a plant. So we plant the seed in the ground, and it's dark. I read something this week about if you really want to change your life, lock yourself into a dark closet for 3 hours. No light, no food, no anything, just sit for 3 hours. And I can imagine that would change something for me. So we put the seed in the ground, and it has to break its shell open, and it has to start reaching towards the light. So that doesn't sound like it's an easy process, but it's necessary for what it has to become. And then as it reaches to the light and stretches up, it has the wind and the sun and the rain and all that to deal with, plus trying to grow at the same time. So we're kind of like little seeds at times, trying to burst forth into something new and to become and realize and remember who we are. So what if we could embrace discomfort as a sign of expansion rather than failing, And what if we could trust that every challenge is an invitation to rise into something greater? So spiritual mind treatment helps us in these moments if we can connect to the divine, if we can remember there's something spiritual happening here as well as something in the physical world. What is mine? We can question, we can affirm our unity with it, and we can declare our growth and unfolding just like that little plant, and we can trust the process. So the more we practice seeing things that are not planned in our life as transformation rather than danger, we can move forward. So remember, the flower doesn't ask permission to bloom, it simply follows the process, and we can always align with the truth of who we are. Holmes wrote, "The divine plan is one of freedom, not bondage." And when we control, what happens when we try to control everything? You know, we close ourselves off from infinite possibilities. So I see an answer, and I think it's the right one. I may be going for it, but there's blocks. I need to look up here again and see what other possibilities are there. Why am I fighting for something that doesn't seem to be working if I could simply allow something? So maybe we need to be curious instead of controlling. Maybe we can surrender instead of resist. Maybe we can have an authenticity of who we are instead of being fearful of what's happening. So I want you to ask a couple questions. Where am I holding back? Where am I holding back from expressing my true truth? And am I trusting the divine pattern of my life, or am I clinging to comfort? Am I allowing myself to bloom in my own unique way? I want to insert a little meditation here before we close and go into our next segment. It's called the Trail of Peace Meditation, because I think ultimately, between love, wearing down the rock that we heard, peace is one of the things that we dearly want in our lives as well. So it's a trail of peace that I leave in the world. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes, if you're comfortable doing that. Take a breath in, doing the inhale and holding, and breathing out through your mouth a few times. With each breath, feeling yourself becoming more present. And with each breath, inviting calmness into your body. And feel that breath circulating through your entire body temple, from head to toe, from the shoulders out to your fingertips. Know that it is the life that you are. And scan your body for any tension. Relax your shoulders, wiggle your toes if you need to, relaxing your fingers. And feel yourself in a place of peace. And I want you to envision a beautiful path that you are on. See yourself walking a beautiful path. I want you to notice how your feet feel when you take a step, how the air smells when you breathe in, the colors that are surrounding you, the sky, if it's visible, the feeling that you have as you walk this path of peace in peace. And as you notice and look at the ground just around you and gently to the back, you notice that your feet are leaving prints on the ground. So with each step you take, you leave an imprint, a soft glow, a little bit of light, a ripple of kindness, a presence of peace. And as you continue walking, knowing that you are leaving these imprints, imagine every interaction you have leaving behind you a gentle touch of peace. So when you smile at someone who may be walking towards you, when you speak with kindness, when you extend love or understanding, you are leaving a mark of peace in this world. Now take a moment and picture all of the people who have ever crossed your path and see how your energy, your words, and your reactions have touched them in ways you may not even realize. All those people, some may be loved ones, some strangers, but each one has felt the energy you bring. Just take a moment. Bring those people to mind. In your mind, you might even give them a smile. And so I invite you to ask yourself, what kind of energy do I want to leave in this world? Knowing that every step I take leaves an imprint. And how can I create more peace in my daily interactions? And I'm going to read 3 affirmations. You can say them aloud or you can say them to yourself and repeat after me. I walk through the world leaving a trail of peace. My presence brings calm, kindness, and love. The energy I share creates a ripple of harmony in the world. So just breathe in those affirmations that we just spoke of. Recognizing the difference that we make, even without trying, because of who we are. And taking another deep breath in, I just invite you to begin to wiggle your toes, your fingers, anything that begins to bring your mind and body together back here to this space, this room. And remember that we can change our thinking. We can change our lives. And we're doing it every day, moment by moment. And so let's do it in a conscious, loving, kind, peaceful way. Let's do it. Let's do it. We don't need to ask how. We can just begin. So, I know, I'm just going to speak a few words in prayer. I know that this time is blessed simply by the presence of love here, the presence of peace here, the presence of joy here. I know that there is love left behind with every footstep, loving kindness. I know there is peace beyond understanding. And I know there's joy that is filling the path as we go. It is our choice, my choice, your choice, and the choice of so many to create a world that works for all. And I do give thanks for this time together, for the sharing, for the music, and all that has been. And so it is. How many remember a question I asked that they want to answer and share? So this is a time when we can share with one another anything that actually came up for you, actually. A story that was brought to mind, an experience, something, a question you have, a reminder. Harrison, come on up. And if anyone wants to share from the audience, I'll bring you a microphone. You can raise your hand too.
Well, thank you, Reverend Faith. That was a lovely meditation, very beautiful. And what came up for me was that a practice I've been doing more recently of gratitude, feeling grateful, and imagining connecting with the people who blessed me. Not just I'm walking around being a blessing, but connecting with the people who blessed me, mentors, friends, spiritual people that saw something there and resonated, gave me a chance to resonate with. And what a remarkable thing happens is starting to happen as I do that. The personal me that's always looking around for something or avoiding something or wanting something starts to become less manifest. And a more universal me that's just love starts to show up. And it's pretty cool because that universal me is not too worried whether how someone is being, and like even if they were difficult, I can just, it just doesn't land because there's not as much personal ego there for it to land on. So I really think that, I'm really starting to think, wow, the gratitude is such a powerful practice, and try to do it in the morning. And I know Ingi talks about getting up with gratitude, going to bed with gratitude. And that's really something. So when I was walking the trail, being in that gratitude and opening up to it, and it elevates our frequency. It elevates us to another dimension, I believe, and where we are the love that we always were and always will be, and the truth and the beauty and all that. So that's my share. Thank you.
Thank you, Harrison. Anyone else have anything come up? People are cringing, sitting down in their seats here. Okay, Melinda's coming up. If anyone online has a question or wants to share, if you tap it in, our tech team will get it to us.
Hello. I just want to say how grateful I am to be here and to hear such positive ideas on how to create my life. And I don't have too much more to say, except that I'm really, really grateful.
We're glad you're here. Thank you, Melinda. Thank you. The other day I was thinking about choices for some reason, and as a kid, different choices I made. And I whenever it was time to get ice cream or a milkshake, mine was chocolate. My sister's was always vanilla. And I had two boys, and they kind of did the same thing. One was chocolate and vanilla. But I thought, how many years I ate chocolate ice cream before I realized there were some other really good flavors too. So we can get really stuck in a rut. I mean, how many years did I keep all of my foods separate on my plate before I realized it really tasted good if the peas got in the mashed potatoes. So I'm going to invite you this week as you go through making choices, go, maybe there's a different one I could do. And if you're really stuck in a routine and want to stop it, one of the things that I have done is to change the way I do something. So if I brush my teeth this way, I start brushing my teeth this way. It can be awkward. If I always put the right leg in my pants first, I put the left leg in. That's really awkward. Do something different to spark something new. Anyone else? Okay. Then, if not, I am going to invite all angles up for another song.
All right, so in order for those seeds to blossom, they need water. So we're going to do a really sweet song by Daniel named Maud by that name. I've seen my share of struggle when I thought that I knew best. When I sailed through a storm instead of stopping to rest. And it always seemed the hardest when I made my stubborn mind. Well, I'm changing my ways this time. Wanna be like water coming down a mountain and shadowy canyons. Wanna know the pool to stream. Wanna be like water, head up hill no more. I am bound for the sea. Have you ever seen an eagle head straight into the wind? If he doesn't pick a fight, spreads his wings and just gives in. And in the end he always makes it home just fine. I guess he knows that every storm subsides. Wanna be like water heading down a mountain into shadowy canyons, from a pool to stream. Wanna be like water on a hill no more. I am bound for the sea. I let nature take its course. No more thinking that I know where this river's meant to go. I've railed against the stars for the cards that I've been dealt, for the lottery I've never won, for the heartache that I've felt. But when I release expectation and regret, life has plenty of surprises for me, yeah. Wanna be like water coming down a mountain into shadowy canyons, flowing from pool to stream. Wanna be like water, head up hill no more. I am bound for the sea.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's give them a little bit more love. I know they all love what they do, but they do spend their time and share with us, so I appreciate that very, very much. Appreciate that. This is a time in our service when we talk about gifts and offerings, because as we receive, we are invited to give. You know, it's been said you can't just take a breath in, you have to take a breath out. And as we give, we are replenished. So we appreciate the time and the gifts that you share with us in other ways. And if you are here in person and would like to share a gift of dollars, there is a basket on the table. And if you are online, you can scan the QR code or go to celebrationcenter.org and hit the donate button. Well, you're going to press the button. You're not going to hit it. And know that we tithe on everything that comes into our center. So it travels around the world. It doesn't stop here because we have to breathe out as well. And so we give it out in other ways. And we've given it to a school in Honduras, and we give to food banks. And so your gift does make a difference more than just here. Let's see, what else was I supposed to, is there anything else about that? Oh, our donation. Our affirmation for our giving. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I do give thanks for that. So let's just take a breath and go into the silence for a moment. And just notice how many ways that you do give in your life. We're not just talking about dollars flowing. We're talking about how many ways you speak to people, tend to the earth, give of your art, your talents, your songs, the beauty that you are, helpfulness. How many ways can you imagine giving? It's almost like giving gratitude or thinking about giving, what am I grateful for? How do I give? So many ways we can do that. It almost just goes on and on because we give to this individual in one way and that individual into another. And so I do give thanks for all of the gifts that come forth in time, talent, and treasure. And so it is. And we have a closing song.
Okay, we hope you'll join us in singing this beautiful song by Jan Garrett, J.D. Martin, and Esther Nicholson. It's called Down in My Soul. If you're able to stand and sing, great. We're singing from your seats. Here we go. I hear the music down in my soul. I hear the music, I hear the music down in my soul, down in my soul. I hear the music down in my soul, and the whole wide world is my home. Each day's a new day, each day's a new day, down in my soul, down in my soul. Each day's a new day, each day's a new day, down in my soul. Each day's a new day, down in my soul. And the whole wide world is my home. The silence, I love the silence down in my soul, in my soul. I love the silence down in my soul, down in my soul. I love the silence down in my soul, and the whole wide world is my home. I feel the power, I feel the power down in my soul, down in my soul. I feel the power down in my soul, down in my soul. I feel the power down in my soul, and the whole wide world is my my home. Yeah, the whole wide world is my home. Yeah, the whole wide world is my home.
All right, raise your hands up and repeat after me. I am rooted in truth.
I am rooted in truth.
Open to change.
I am changed
And blossoming into my highest expression.
and blossoming into my highest expression.
And so it is.
So it is.